Okay, I am here and I am ready, although I don't have my ring on because I just came home from work and I put some makeup on. I put some foundation, concealer and eyebrows on and an eye primer because I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to do that. I will leave my brow tutorial down below, like my brow routine on how I do my brows. I am gonna show you a look like taking that cool tone gray glamour look of the 90s and bringing it into today. So I'm not gonna be recreating a 90s look, and a lot of the times when I see people recreate the 90s look, it is not actually the kind of makeup that we wore in the 90s anyways. It's like they're recreating things that they saw in the catwalk but more neat, and that's not what we had in the 90s because when the 90s started, I was 6 years, so I spent all of like elementary school in the 90s. I wore a lot of makeup in the 90s. I loved makeup and I still love 90s makeup, but I don't really think it's like that grungy, brick colored smoky eye that people are talking. We didn't wear that. And what I'm gonna try and do, and I'll see if I can pop it up next to me, I'm gonna try and bring the glamour of Pamela Anderson into 2019. She had horrible makeup. I'm so sorry, Pam. Your makeup in the 90s was horrible. But we thought it was so sexy back in the 90s. She had those really thin eyebrows. I had that. Pretty much everyone had that. And I just wanted to try and bring this cool tone, smoky, sexy look with the really overdrawn, like, dark liner nude lips into 2019 with the technique we have today. How would this look today? Because we all thought that this was sexy makeup, so let's make 90s sexy makeup, but today, more like how we would wear it today. So I have some things in front of me. I don't have any like bronzer or stuff on. We did like, I know that people used bronzers in the 90s. I only used bronzer a bit at the end of the 90s because I'm gonna use this bronzer by Morphe because I wasn't really, you know, when you start out with makeup, not nowadays because people today are so good with makeup, it's like they're like skipping that awkward phase and it's totally unfair. But you kind of start out with like black eyeliner all over and just lipstick, and then you might start with just foundation but no bronzer, just a mask. But I do like contouring, and bronzing was big in the 90s as well, especially if you look at like the supermodel looks. Some people seem to think that like Kim Kardashian made contouring a thing, but I don't think she made it a thing. She just showed everyone, like the everyday person, like how it was made, because I think it was a bit of a secret before, and I think that is good that she took the veil off a bit. But definitely people use bronzer. I know that my mom used to use bronzers all over her cheeks, even as blush. So I'm not going to use a blush in this look. I'm going to use bronzer a bit more like my mom used it, all over her cheeks. Maybe a bit more refined than she did. I'm sorry, Mom, but you had bronzer all over your like face. I think that was like a leftover from the 80s though. And I do want this to be like a 90s look of today, so there's no point in me trying to make something that is not like I want it to be 90s look of today. And I am gonna use some contour powder. I haven't contoured in like years. I haven't contoured in probably a year at least. This is the Makeup Store Micro Shadow in Smog. This is the one that I use mostly when I do my contour. This is my second one. I went through a lot of these. I actually bought this first, what can I have been? Like my early 20s maybe? I don't know. But I've owned one for forever. It was like a trick. It was like the contour shade that everyone used. Or maybe it was more like mid-20s. But yeah, I have used this a lot, but not lately. Because I haven't been contouring lately. It's not really been my thing. But I'm trying to be the Pamela Anderson makeup look today, so maybe I should. I just put a bit up here. I don't take my contour too far down. I don't like that look, and I think it makes me old when I take it too far down, so I try to keep it at like the perimeter of my face. That's how I do it, at least. Let's also do a bit of highlight. Highlighting wasn't really a thing, but I don't think that you would do a glamour look today without a highlighter. I think that today highlighter is so big, I don't see it like going away. But I'm sure it will, and I'm sure that like thin eyebrows is gonna come back as well. Like the kind of eyebrows that actually Pamela had back in the 90s. Which were extremely thin and just painted in with like a line, and that was the kind of eyebrows that you wanted to have. You wanted to have that where you could have just a line. That was like the desirable eyebrow. But I don't think that like if you had that today, it would be very like outdated, at least when it comes to trends. And that's not the kind of eyebrows that I prefer today either, so I had to do like the kind of eyebrows I prefer if I were to make this look like today, like current. So I'm not gonna do too much highlight, I'm just gonna do a little bit. I think that's gonna be it, and that's gonna be just the face. It's basically just like brown and highlight and no like color. I didn't use any blush, and I don't remember blush being that big. I think I bought my first blush in like the 2000s. Pretty sure I bought it then. I am gonna use, I am gonna use some Makeup Geek singles. This is my neutrals palette, and this one has some grays, and it was very in to do gray eyeshadow. Like cool toned eyeshadow was in. It was a thing. I mean, people use browns and stuff as well, but a lot of like grays and then blacks. So I am gonna start with something like this. This is Friend Zone, and I'm gonna work with that. Or do I wanna work? No, I'm gonna start with that one. Oh, and I'm gonna try a new brush. This is the Gabby Ross makeup. I got this sent to me by Jen Gerard. She said that this was her favorite brush. And I haven't tried it yet, because I keep forgetting. But now I'm gonna try it. It comes in this little slip. And some plastic. I'm gonna take off. Oh, this seems like something I would really like. It's soft, but it's not too soft, so it won't be able to... I like breaking in my brushes a bit before I use them. I think this has natural hair. It feels like it's goat. But I think that this will be really good at blending. It feels like a good blending brush. So I'm starting with the Friend Zone, and something that I noticed when I look at like eyeshadow looks from the 90s is that they don't go up too far. They really take advantage of the thin eyebrows, making it a lot of real estate, because you always pluck under. It makes your eyebrows like thin but a bit up, so you had a lot of space to put your eyeshadow, but I still feel like most looks were not that high up. So I'm gonna try and not do that as well, but it's gonna be a bit higher than some of the looks that I saw of Pam, because I personally like to take it a bit above the crease, because I feel like that works best and looks best on the eye. So I'm just gonna start with Friend Zone, and I'm just gonna take this in the crease and a bit on the lid as well, just blending this out and trying to make this a bit seamless. And I am gonna do a bit of a cat shape as well, because that was really in the 90s, sometimes so much that it was just on the lid and then just a tail that went up, but I prefer when it's a bit more up in the crease. I really hope that cool tones is gonna come back a bit more again. It is really cool and sexy with these like gray tones on the eyes, especially when it's like gray tone taupes like this one. It's not straight up like black mixed with white. It's got a little bit of a like a taupey undertone. It does make it a bit easier to work with. I don't like a brow bone highlight, so I am gonna skip that, just so you know. I'm gonna use this one now. This is a bit darker. This one is called Faux Fur. I'm gonna deepen this up a bit with this one and the same brush, and then I think I'm just gonna deepen up even more with a black. And I am gonna put this on half the lid as well, or maybe all of the lid. You know what? I'm gonna put this on all of the lid because it was very common and sexy in the 90s to have a full-on smoky look. And also a full-on matte look. And I think that there is something very sexy about a matte smoky eye. So let's do that. That could definitely be brought back to 2019. A all matte, cool toned smoky eye. To help with the blending a bit, I'm gonna use this one. This is Vanilla Bean, right? Yeah, this is Vanilla Bean. It is that bone colored matte, just something that looks like your skin color. And I'm just taking a very flimsy brush. This is the Sigma Blending E36, and I'm just going over the edge with this one, because I personally don't like a very highlighted brow bone, at least not with most looks. So to help out the blending, something that's like your skin color on a very flimsy brush can really help. I always end up taking my eyeshadow up very high. Can't help it. I really like it. It's really hard to get like cool tones like this to be very like blended with a blended edge when you don't really have a cool tone skin like I don't. So I'm doing the best I can, but I'm trying to not overblend, because that's just gonna end up making me look ashy all over, because it doesn't match with my skin tone. It's gonna make all of me look muddy. So I'm taking Corrupt now, which is the black shadow from Makeup Geek, and I'm gonna deepen up the outer corner and the crease a bit with some black. I'm going in little by little so I don't get too much, but I just want to really emphasize this like outer corner. And I used to work with, when I started doing more dramatic looks, I used to work with so much black. I was mesmerized. Do you know what I used to do? I used to take a cream highlighter and take that all over my lid and then just dab on matte black eyeshadow. Yep, and that was like my party look. I love that. It was very smoky. And I don't think that I was like, and I don't think anyone was that concerned with like smooth blended edges. Like you never heard anyone saying anything about that, and sometimes you just literally put your eyeshadow on with your finger on your lid and that was it. It was more about the colors you chose than like the technique you had. And I mean, I was young, and I'm also talking now a bit about like early 2000s, because that's also when I did a lot of makeup and when I started like hanging out a bit, like because in Sweden you can go to clubs when you're 18. So I did some more makeup then, of course, but yeah. I remember that black era. I had very smoky looks. And I wore false lashes. So I'm gonna put some lashes on because I have worn false lashes for as long as I've done dramatic looks. And this isn't really like a, how does this look? It's looking very dramatic. And this isn't really like a how I used to do my makeup. That's not what this is. But it is bringing the sexy 90s makeup into today. And today, I mean, people would use false lashes with a dramatic look like this if they're going out. At least if they're like makeup enthusiasts. At least if they're me. I mean, I'm trying to like defend my choice of wearing false. I always wear false lashes. For me, false lashes is the easiest part of my makeup. And that's why I always put them on. It's not really an effort for me. It takes me literally 2 minutes. If not even that. Like, it's so easy for me. And I totally understand that for some people it isn't. But I mean, I am doing makeup for me after all. It's not horrible, but it's also not perfect. But that's okay. I really like having a look like this on. It's been so long. I'm taking a bit more of that faux fur. I'm just gonna smoke out my lower lash line with this. I remember that I didn't used to do eyeshadow under my eyes, and I don't really know if they did that in the 90s or not, or that was just a me thing. But I feel like in 2019, if we do our top lid, we usually don't leave our under eyes like naked. I think I'm gonna do a bit of matte inner corner highlight. I'm gonna use a Start White. This is White Lies. It is a white matte, so no shimmer in this one. And I don't really know if we used inner corner highlights. I remember that I did that in like the 2000s, like the early 2000s. But I don't know if the 90s had that, but same here. I like doing an inner corner highlight, and I feel like it's very 2019 to do an inner corner highlight. So I feel like I wanna, if I'm bringing a look like this into today, I feel like you would do it. But also I really like keeping it kind of matte. I kind of like that. Pamela Anderson used a lot of eyeliner, so I'm gonna do eyeliner as well. I'm also gonna do some black in my waterline. I was very in to have this sexy black waterline and just literally put eyeliner all around your eyes. I used liquid eyeliner kind of early. I started experimenting with that kind of early, and I know that since it is Pamela Anderson's 90s look that I'm trying to modernize a bit, I do know that she used a lot of liquid liner, and she did like really play on this like cat eye shape. So I'm gonna do that as well to really stay true to the theme. So let me put some eyeliner and mascara on, and I'll come back and we can do those iconic lips. Ooh. Okay, so I have the black eyeliner on, and I took it all the way to my inner corners. I don't usually do that, but I felt like since Pamela Anderson was so big with like eyeliners, and her eyeliner sometimes covered her entire lid, true beauty guru style, I thought at least do them a bit more bold. I'm gonna put on some lashes. I'm gonna use the Gorgeous Lashes by Makeup Store. These are very flared, so that I really take advantage of the somewhat cat shape that I still have going on. So I'm gonna put these on as well before we get into the lips. I'll probably zoom out a little bit as well, and maybe brush my hair, because I just put some dry shampoo in my hair and just had it up because I've been at work all day and I felt it was a little bit iffy. Oh, if you want to get better result with your dry shampoo, I totally recommend you to do that. Don't put it in and brush it out right away. Leave it in the hair for a bit, put your hair up, leave it up for a little bit. It's gonna give better results. So I'm gonna put the falsies on. I'm gonna like brush my hair. I should probably have the true 90s, like the tendril styles, like true Jog Saron style, but I'm not trying to, because hair accessories and hair was like doing things with your hair is so big in the 90s. Maybe I'll put a hairpin in, because hair accessories is also super big now, 2019. It's been one of the biggest trends of the year, so maybe I'll put a hair accessory in. Okay, I'll fix that. I'll be right back. Okay, I think my hair is far from clean, but okay. I changed into a more of a 90s like outfit. These little cardigans with like short sleeved and like little buttons, it was a thing. It was a thing. It was definitely a thing, and they're a thing again. So I actually bought this quite recently I bought it when I was in US. Oh, I took this out to have a bit of a, how's that? Is that okay? Let's have that. Are we doing that? Maybe we're doing that. I bought this, when did I buy this? American Eagle, I think, when I was in Minneapolis, I think. But everything is on, lashes is on. I changed to something more nice. I used to wear leather bands like this, just tied around my neck all the time. That was all the rage. Hair accessories are back in, and my hair is wanting to die. I'm gonna do the kind, listen, in the 90s, people will show you these like overlined like ombre, failed ombre lips. It was even worse. Sometimes we used a black eye pen around our lips, like And then just chapstick. We didn't even try to blend it. So I'm gonna try and blend it and make it a bit more 2019. I'm gonna use the Jordana Easy Liner for lips in Rock and Rose, and I'm gonna use, because Pamela used to use more pinky toned lips, even though more of the brown lips were so in, but together with like a cool tone smoky eyes like this, I think this is Powder Puff by H&M Beauty. It's very pale and pink, and I'm gonna use this together with this liner, and I am gonna overline, but I am gonna try and fade this in so it's not like a sharp line like it was back in the days. Although to be fair, it's probably gonna be a bit of a sharp line, because I am not an ombre expert. The trick to overlining your lips is to not overline too much in like the inner corners. Start from your inner corners and then go up. Try to overline mostly at the top and the bottom. That usually works the best for me, because it's when you start to overline at the edges, you get that kind of a clown mouth, and not, obviously not overline too much, just like a millimeter or so. Although I did do extra now to be more, I don't know, Pamela-esque. In the 90s, frosted lips was the chisel, and I feel like that trend has died off today. But glosses are really in again, but I think I'm gonna skip gloss just for this look. But ooh, frosted lips were so in, and if you look at the pictures, for example, of Pamela and her makeup, she was doing ombre lips with very sharp edges and frosty, like pinky nudes all the time. And that is the kind of trend I don't need back. I mean, it's a sharp edge, but it's not that bad. But I think the look is finished. Looking in the viewfinder, I feel pretty, but it's a bit different, and it's no colors, so obviously it's different. But I don't think that there was a lot of colors in the 90s, to be fair. A lot of things were either matte brown or matte gray. It was, the colors were very muted. There was some like rusty tones, but to be fair, from what I remember, most of it was like gray and brown, and that came to like clothes as well. Gray was so in. Gray was definitely the chisel when we had this whole like streetwear thing that was in the 90s, and then also the contrast between black and white was really in. Of course, like plaid and stuff was in as well, like in Sweden we would call it like checked checkered, and that was of course really in as well. I could probably put something like that on as well to give the like get my inner Nirvana vibe out, but I was trying to go for Pamela Anderson. Let me see if I can put the picture back in of like, do you think are we twinning? Are we? I really like this though. I like the look. I am gonna film the new makeup releases after this. It feels like it's a bit different for that segment here on my channel. I'm also a bit short on time, so I need to finish this up and start with that one. Thank you so much for watching. Do let me know down below what you think of this. I really liked bringing a kind of dated makeup look and bringing it back to 2019. I thought it was really fun. Let me know if this is something you'd like me to do again. I don't really want to start a series, because sometimes when I start series I do feel a bit pressured to do new episodes, because I mean, I started it, I kind of want to continue it, but maybe I can do something again if there's something you want to see, like updated. And I'm not a makeup artist, so I don't know all of the history and stuff like that. I can only tell you what I remember from the era. But yeah, that was everything for this video. If you want to be subscribed, please do. I upload about 5 videos a week, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!